Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello,
Good evening, ma'am.
good evening. Right, I can just see there are 12 people joined here. How about the others then? Philip is here. Fatima Mafasa. Mafasa, where do you teach? Fatima, can you just tell me where you teach? Gayani?
Madam, I am in Kakirawa.
Ah, right, I can remember. What's the school you said?
Madatugama.
Madatugama, right, okay. Didn't I share the yesterday's PowerPoint?
No, madam, I
Think I did. No?
No, ma'am.
we didn't get it, madam.
Oh, really? Maybe I did it. You might have left, right?
Yes.
Is there
No,
anybody who got it? Mr. Philip, did you get it? Philip.
No, ma'am. I put a message in the chat box, ma'am, but you didn't. I think you didn't see it, ma'am. We didn't
You
receive
got
it,
it
ma'am.
or not? You didn't get
No,
the
ma'am.
PowerPoint? No.
No, I couldn't
No?
get it. No, no.
Ah, right. I'll try it now then. Now you get it? Hello? Can't you see it now?
not yet, madam.
No, ma'am. No, not come. Not, you didn't came, ma'am.
I did it now.
Now, okay, ma'am. Now okay, ma'am. We got it.
Hello, can you all hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, can be.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am,
Can
can hear.
right. Okay. I think there's a technical error there while I'm using the laptop, but I think now you all can hear, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Now we can hear you.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
madam.
Okay. Shall we write? I mean, try this one as well. Otherwise, there's a problem here. I don't know what happened. Anyway, yes, I think I shared yesterday's PowerPoint presentation. You all got it. So you can just have it as a resource and you could go through it. I'm extremely sorry. I think I just shared it yesterday, but anyway, now the problem is sorted out, right? Yes, and there's another problem today. If you can't hear me, just send me a message to the chat box, right? Then I'll be able to just check it from time to time. Right. Now, today we are going to discuss another aspect of educational philosophy, schools of philosophy. Schools of philosophy, that means we are going to explore the evolution of analytical or analytic philosophy in education, right? Yeah, objectives of the lesson. Now, I think you have to be able to explain the history of analytic philosophy, explain the value of studying educational philosophy of great philosophers. And you should be able to describe right. Describe seems that the mic is working. Okay, you should be able to explain the value of studying educational philosophy, describe the importance of philosophy for a teacher. Right. If there's a problem, please let me know. Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Right. Then, we get the help of ancient philosophers when we are planning the education system. And then I think you will be able to study how they have put forward and what they have put forward their ideas on education. Right. Now. Right. Then Plato's philosophy. Is there an echo?
Yes, ma'am.
No. How is it now?
Now okay, ma'am.
Ah, right. Okay, thank you.
Before it was echoing, ma'am. Before.
But now,
Now fine, ma'am. It's okay.
ah, right. Yes. Something went wrong with the computer. Right. Plato's philosophy. You know, Plato is a Greek philosopher, right? And he is very much he is actually put forward, he was actually a great philosopher and he had contributed a lot to educational thoughts. Then his ideas on education are greatly used in different aspects, right? So he put forward his ideas on knowledge, reality, and the ideal state. But we have to think of how he is planning. He was planning education, or how he was giving advice for education. He wanted the people, the individuals, to be knowledgeable people. People have to understand the reality according to him. At the same time, we could focus our attention on his idea, emphasis on moral education. Now, you have to, when you study some philosophy or when you discuss different facts and information here, please try to think of our education system in the country. Then you will be able to understand it well and you will be able to analyze it. Right. Then emphasis on moral education. So he says that not only intellectual development, but also the moral development should be there. I think as teachers, you all understand, you all agree with the idea. Even though he put forward the ideas long ago, now we can understand that we have to emphasize on those ideas, right? Not only the intellectual development, but there should be moral development within the individual. And the importance of virtues, that means the norms, the things accepted in the society, they are also important and we have to train. We have to get the students practice them from their young age. Right, now let's move on to the next idea. Sorry. Right. Now, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Now, just think of his ideas. He is also a prominent philosopher. Right? He says that now the person or the newborn individual or newborn baby is a good one, but the society corrupts him or her. So then we are not born as bad people, right? You can understand that. And according to Rousseau, what has, okay, right. Just give me some time. Right. According to Rousseau, he says that now the child's natural development is very important. for the natural development of the child, we need actually child-centered education. So whenever I think by now you have learned all these things. When you are planning your lessons, we have to focus our attention on the child's needs, the child's interests, and their level of development, right? Now, maybe you are teaching in grade 9 classes, but depending on the school, depending on the level of the school, and maybe a remote school and an urban school like that, there might be differences. So you have to understand the differences and their needs, and then you can plan your lessons accordingly. Yes. Right. Then let's move on to the next idea. Rousseau says that it should be child-centered education. We have to understand the children first and then plan according to their interests. So let them be active in the classroom. The next idea is learning through experience. So all these things are practiced by you all. We know that all the teachers know the importance of child-centered or student-centered approach, and you all are practicing them. And now you can understand that great philosophers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, they have put forward the same idea long ago, right? Yes. The experiences are very important, and let the students explore the situations, explore the environment, and learn. And the passive instruction. Now, sometimes you all will be passive listeners and you all do not involve a lot in the lessons, right? But you all are adults, you are not children. So you know as teachers how to manage things, right? I am not encouraging you to be passive in the lectures, but I think most of you all like to just be silent and get the ideas and then try to understand like that. But for children, we should not let them be passive in the classroom, according to him. Let's get some more ideas by Rousseau. He speaks about the stages of development. And even now we have stages of development, different steps, different grades. We plan according to grade 1, 2, 3, like that. And even for the primary grades, we have the eras, like now, primary grade 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4 together, and grade 5. Like that, we have to categorize the levels of students. And then according to their own pace, we can let them develop. Please understand that. And one of the most important ideas by him, the importance of freedom. The child needs a significant amount of freedom for their education, because we always have some ground rules in the classroom. We know that we need them for a better classroom management. Then you all have to think of that classroom management, and then you have to think of the child's development as well. We need our policies, we need our ground rules for the management part, but when it comes to their learning, their education, and their studies, we have to give them enough freedom. If you give them enough freedom, then they can develop their desire to explore the situations, right? So you all have to, we are just telling, right? We are just telling we are teachers and we teach them. But actually, you all know that we prepare or we design learning situations. We provide them with the opportunities to learn. The child has to explore, make use of the opportunity, and they have to learn. Right. Then, role of the educator. According to Rousseau, even now we accept this idea. Teacher has to guide the students. Teacher is a facilitator. Rather than a traditional instructor, you have to be a facilitator in the classroom. So then the child will be active in the class and they will learn. The teacher or the educators. Now here you can say you are a teacher, you are an educator, you are a facilitator. So you have to provide them with the correct opportunity according to their level, according to the subject. You have to design different opportunities. That's why you design your lessons. In your lesson plans, you just say step 1, step 2, like that, or you just say you have activities. During those activities, by those activities, you provide learning situations to children. Now you can understand how we all still use all these ideas by great philosopher Rousseau. And then, there's a very great impact on educational practices even nowadays, especially student-centered education. Then the providing opportunities for the students to get experiences, right? Then he emphasized the natural development of the individual. Therefore, we think of the child's freedom, we think of the child's interests and needs, then we plan our lessons and we implement. That means we provide the learning situations to children. Another great philosopher is an American philosopher, John Dewey. According to him, actually, he is an American philosopher. He is a psychologist and an educationist or education reformer, we say. He has also put forward very important ideas, right? Now, education is not merely a preparation for life, but rather a process of living itself, right? While living, we learn a lot. So then we have a broader philosophical view from him. Especially, he focuses his attention on knowledge, reality, and the ideal state. Right. First one is experiential learning. Experiential learning is important because, we learn things through experience, right? We learn, actually, we can say, we just say, learn by doing. If you remember John Dewey, we have to think of his idea, learning by doing, that there should be hands-on activities, real-world activities. So we have to think of different strategies for the child to get experience, right? Now, if you are just teaching about a farm, we can organize a field trip to a farm. Then they will get the real world experience. If we are teaching English, we can get them the real world experience. Maybe we can watch movies with them. How people speak to each other can be shown, and the different levels of accents and levels of the children's speaking, and then how we use language for different contexts. So like that, we can provide them enough experience. Pragmatism. That is again John Dewey's philosophy. That means you have to think of the practical results, right? You have to think, we always think of the practical results, practical consequences. Education focuses on solving real life problems. That's why we say it's practical. Oh, sorry, what's it? What's the message here? I'll check it and come to you. So Kanchana is saying she can't hear me. Fatima Mafasa is also saying she can't hear me. What is the problem? Others, what do you say?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Others can hear.
We can
Then
hear you.
Mafasa and Kanchana, what is your problem then? Only Philip can hear? Just. How about now, Philip?
Now okay, madam.
Everyone is all right now? Just. Is everyone okay? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, ma'am.
Right. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right. I'm happy now. Now I'm comfortable enough because I had to use two devices, and now I just left from the mobile one. Okay. Right. Then we were discussing
Pragmatism.
pragmatism. Right. Yes. Now you can understand pragmatism. Pragmatism relates to the practical skills, real life situations, right? So always he says that it should be now. If you are teaching a subject, it should be related to a real life situation, a real life problem, right? Then only we will be able to develop practical skills. Now there are practical subjects. Now, if you teach home science, you know what to do with the subject and the subject content, right? But in English also, we have to develop practical skills, and we focus our attention on developing their skills. That means if you want the child to read and understand the text, you have to let the child read it. If you want to develop their speech skills, you have to design activities for them to speak, for them to write in order to develop their writing skills. If we now we can't just say, okay, after developing the skills they can write. No, we have to give them the opportunities. You can develop your speech through speech. You can develop your writing through writing. Like that, you have to give the children real life situations. Now, we just get the students to listen to railway announcements. Then we have to actually get some railway announcements at least recorded and let them listen to them, right? Like that. But in our country, we don't get real life experiences from the stations because they don't use much English except in Colombo area, right? Yes. Then democracy. I think your classroom is a democratic classroom. You are a democratic teacher, as I assume, right? Now just see how long we are using their ideas, right? And then how important their ideas, right? Now we have to say now, if you think of teachers or different types of teachers, we have democratic teacher, authoritative teacher, and laissez-faire teacher. Then we prefer or we accept or we agree and then we emphasize on the democratic teacher. If you say authoritative teacher, he or she is the authority in the class. The only authority in the class is the teacher, and they have hard and fast rules. You can do that, you can't do this like that. And then no freedom for entertainment in the class, no freedom for their expressions. Then the children won't be happy with the authoritative teacher. Then the laissez-faire teacher means the person gives freedom, more than enough freedom, right? That means the children go astray. That means children do whatever they need. Children are not guided well. No proper activities for them to engage in. Maybe the activities are not appropriate to their level. So then you should not be a laissez-faire teacher. You should not be an authoritative teacher, but you should be a democratic teacher. Then, according to John Dewey, there's a strong connection between education and democracy. Then the school also, there should be a democratic environment. Then the students learn to become active and democratic citizens and engaged citizens. So then you can understand these things and you can just see whether there's the democratic situation in my classroom, right? Some places actually they are beyond your control, right? If you think of the school, there might be situations which you can't control. But in the classroom, you are the owner there. Then you can create a democratic situation in your classroom. Right. John Dewey also emphasized on child-centered education. Right. Child-centered education, you all know, we always think of the students' level and all these things, and we prepare lessons according to them, right? Education should be actually according to the individual's level. So we let them come forward and present their ideas, let them ask questions. So the child is the most important person in the classroom. Child becomes the most important person, and we have to think of all children are equally important, right? The social role of education, that means in the process of education, we think of the social progress, the child's developing the child's social skills. They should understand the social responsibility. Now, in group work, the other day we discussed the group work in detail. In group work and pair work, we ask the students to work collaboratively, and there's a target that is for everyone's benefit, right? So then the group should get together, and in the group also there should be the democratic environment. Now you know, in some schools or in some classrooms, if you organize a group work or group activity, then there are children who are trying to dominate the others. But as the teacher, I asked you to monitor the class as well, monitor the group activities well. Then you have to emphasize on what? Emphasizing there should be the democratic situation, democratic environment within the group. Everyone should get equal opportunities. Everyone should help each other. Maybe they are at different levels. Even then, everyone's contribution Everyone's opportunities are important. Right. Once again, he says experiential learning. That means learning by doing. That is his idea. Actually, he always focuses on that. Learning by doing. You do something. And I asked you a question yesterday. How did you learn to fix a nail? How did you learn to pick a flower from a flower plant? Nobody taught you, but you just observed and imitated. Even our children, they do the same, right? And if you practice it every day, then you will be able to master that skill. So then, if you do the same thing every day, then you will be able to get or achieve the competency, right? You all have known, the competencies and competency levels are known by all the teachers, right? Yes. Then the reflective thinking. What do you mean by this reflective thinking? I told you that I mentioned that after doing a lesson, you have to reflect on it. After doing something, you have to reflect on it. What is that reflective thinking? Can anybody tell me? Today I have a lot of stuff on the slides because after I share this, you all will be read and understand, and then I think that will be beneficial. That's why a lot of stuff is included in the slides, right? Can somebody tell me about reflective thinking? What's it? Yes.
After completing the lesson, ma'am, it is as a revision. The child should explain what she or he studied. My voice is not. I have throat pain, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear, yes.
Yes, after the lesson or after the, if we have the reflective means, after the session, if you are giving a feedback, something like feedback, it's reflective. And that means, I don't know how to
Yes.
explain that.
Right. Okay. Yes. Now you think of
They-
teaching a lesson, right? After
Yeah,
teaching the lesson, you think of
lesson,
the lesson and how I did it,
yeah,
where I was successful, where I went wrong, and where
yeah.
the problems arise and why that happened, and what
What
should
we
I
get from
what
that.
I did to solve the problems. Hmm? Like that. Yes. Okay. Right. Any other idea? Yes, we need all the teachers. Reflective thinking to be developed. Not only for the lesson, but also for anything that you do, you have to reflect on these things. Right? Now, it is actually an active process. Reflective thinking is an active process, and there's a careful consideration of what we do or what we believe and what form of knowledge we have, right? So then the education should enrich the students' reflective thinking skills. That means the student should be able to look back, and then he or she has to think of what he did, how he did, and whether he was successful, whether he went wrong, why he went wrong, and if I went wrong, what should be done not to go wrong, hereafter. And if I am successful, if you have to think, and if you have to think why I am successful, and you can be happy, and then you have to think of how to be more successful, right? Now, for a lesson, also you can apply the same. After doing a lesson, you write reflective notes on it. Then you can just imagine or you can just check whether you could achieve the objectives of the lesson you have designed, whether you could manage the time, whether you could manage the classroom well, all the steps or all the activities designed could be implemented. And if I could organize the group work well, resources were available or resources were enough, like that, you have to think of each and every aspect of it. And then you have to think whether I was successful or where I went wrong and what should I do not to go wrong or to do it successfully. And was there effective teaching? And if it is not effective, you have to think another strategy. Next day, I have to be more effective, right? Like that. Okay. Another teaching method proposed by John Dewey is the project method. Nowadays, it is very common in all the levels of the education system. So then we assign them the projects, and doing the projects, they get the real life experience, right? Now, especially in higher education nowadays, when you just consider the university education, even for you all, there might be different sorts of projects you have to do. And through doing all these projects, implementing all these projects, actually going to real places, real world projects are very important. And then you can promote the child's active learning through projects. First of all, we have to teach them how to design a project and how to plan it, and then what they need to implement. Now, at schools, I have seen some teachers, you organize different projects like having a fair, right? In order to raise money for something, you organize a fair. Then it is a project. Now, as a teacher, you have to think of how to do it. And in the same way, you can assign the children small projects where they can go to, if they want to study the government offices, they can go to a government office and get things done or observe. Or then you can give them a small form of, maybe a small form, a simple one, and then they'll be able to speak to people and take whatever, take whatever they need, right? Okay. Yes, they are very important, and you know what to do in a project. And after completing the project, you write the project report. Before doing it, we write the project proposal, and then we do it. And after writing it, we write the project report. Right. Then school as a community. John Dewey considered school as a community where, yeah, the students are part of it, and there should be the collaboration, there should be problem solving, there should be their participation, and especially democratic decision making. In the community of school, children should be considered important, right? There might be different associations. One more message, what is it? Reflecting or thinking. 1 minute, there's a message. Sorry, I didn't see that. Reflective thinking is reflecting or thinking back what we did. Is that all? what we did, what strategies were used. Okay, good. What problems arose and what I should develop. Yeah, what I should do in my future lessons, what I should do to sort out the problems I face today, not to face the same problem. Right. One is one point I want to mention here. If you just want to describe reflective thinking is reflecting or thinking back. We don't have to use the same word reflecting here. Thinking back is enough, right? Okay. Yes. Then, thank you, right? Jaina? Yes. Thank you, Jaina, for your message, but I didn't see it. Okay. I'll check from time to time. Right. Then, school as a community, you know, you are also, as teachers, you are also a part of that community, right? Make the child, we have already done it. We make the child a part of that community, right? So we give them the due recognition, right? They are considered important in the school. They are given different responsibilities, their ideas are considered, and their suggestions are accepted. So then it is a small community where the student think that he is an important member in that. Right. Now, we spoke a lot on philosophy. That means we discussed three great philosophers. Who are they? Yes. Plato, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and John Dewey. Right? So then you have right. Then the three philosophers and their ideas. Especially, I want everyone to read all these things and get more ideas about their philosophies, and then still you can check how we are using their ideas, right? So please understand that these ideas are very important for the education system. And we move on to some more ideas about philosophy. Right. Yes. Now, in the modern sense of the word philosophy, we just call it, we sometimes call analytic philosophy. That means logical philosophy, right? We don't have to use that word, or we can use without the word philosophy, right? Analytic philosophy or philosophy is enough. So then, analytic philosophy of education, we focus our attention on clarity, precision, and logical structure in educational discourse, right? Education, the context of education. You all can understand now we need philosophy to shape educational theories, right? And analytic philosophy emphasizes the role of language in shaping educational theories, right? philosophical questions. Now we learned that philosophy means answering questions. Always there's a question. Ask and answer question. So then we have to think philosophically and act accordingly, and then we can be able to do things successfully, right? We can get the best results out of it because we think philosophically and we do it. Okay? Right. If we just think of 20th century, now the new era, I mean the philosophers like Bertrand Russell, Ludwig Wittgenstein, like that, they are the thinkers that we consider important, right? We, according to them, we just see there's a new approach in education philosophy, right? Now, the other day we studied metaphysics, right? And axiology, huh? Like that. But now we have to focus on linguistic analysis and logical clarity. These ideas are not very much, they are also important for you, but you have to remember why and how we use educational philosophy in the context of our career, right? You have to understand that. You have to think of it. You have to think analytically. Now, all these philosophical ideas may be the very ancient ones, right? Maybe in the Middle Age and now in the 20th century and 21st century. So, all these philosophical ideas should be studied by the teacher, and the teacher has to think of his or her own philosophy after studying all these things. So that's why I am telling you now. I started from the ancient era and I am moving towards the latest era, right? The recent past. And then I want everyone to analyze philosophy and how it is how it influences the field of education. Okay. Right. We need philosophy for educational practices. Right. Then philosophy has an impact on educational practices, educational situations. Right? I always tell you the child's critical thinking should be improved. Child's clear communication should be improved, and learning outcomes to be assessed based on logical frameworks and empirical means practical evidence. Now, in the classroom, you all teach, especially you teach English, right? Maybe some other subjects. Then, when you are teaching English, maybe grammar, or you want to teach them the listening, sub skills, listening strategies, right? Then, in each and every step of your lesson plan, you have to wait. Right. You have to think of the child's development. We discussed child's development should be there. We have to give them the freedom. We have to make the lesson child-centered. And then the necessary steps or necessary situation should be there. That means the educational or the learning environment should be there. Huh? Like that, the teacher has to plan all these things. Can you all understand? Right? As teachers, you plan your lesson, and in each step of your lesson plan, you ask children to do something. Maybe first of all, you explain grammar, then gives them some examples, ask them to practice it, and get them to produce their language. Okay? Use. Maybe that's the order, but you don't have to follow the same order, but you can just, when you are teaching grammar, you may be using deductive approach or inductive approach. For example, one teacher can use deductive approach, one teacher can use inductive approach, another one can use both, and then we call it the eclectic approach. Even though we use any approach there to teach grammar, then in each step we can just divide the step into 3, right? That means the teacher's task, instructing or presenting the language, then the student's task, the students are listening, the students are writing, they are filling in the blanks. Like that, there are different tasks for the students to engage in. And after that, in each step, you have to assess their performance, right? In each step, you assess. Towards the end of the lesson, you evaluate, right? Then, after assessing, you may give them the feedback, whether you went wrong or whether you have to correct the spelling mistake, whether you have to use the grammar mistake, correct the grammar mistake, like that. Then we can understand the same procedures are there in the education system, right? Now, the basic principles of logical philosophy, that means the analytical philosophy, we have to think of the changes. Now, earlier there was the transmission, transmission, and then transformation. Earlier, the teacher's role was transmitting the language, transmitting the knowledge. But now we see that it is transformation. So then we have to think of transformation, that means the changes in practices. Then we have to develop critical thinking, clear communication, and assessing educational outcomes, right? You all have to think of assessing the child. Assessing means not a test. What do you mean by the word assess? Identify strengths and weaknesses and giving them feedback, right? Assessing the educational outcomes, maybe educational outcomes as a long uh, long term activity or short term, right? Long term expectations, short term expectations. Now in the lesson we have the short term expectation, and in each step we assess them, whether the child did it, the child did what I wanted, and child did what I asked them to do, and child was engaging actively in the lesson. Like that, you can observe and assess them. So then how do we implement those things? Based on logical frameworks and evidence, practical evidence. So that's another part of educational philosophy. Right. Yes. We can't study everything in detail here in this lesson, but when you are teaching First of all, we have to develop your own philosophy as a teacher. Therefore, you try to develop your subject knowledge, and then you learn, you are trained. Like you were given practical experience, you were developed, your skills were developed, right, in the training courses, and you have to understand the student. So then one aim or the key aim is to understand the diverse needs of students, different needs of the students. People are different, right? Recognizing individual differences. The individual differences are there may be learning styles and cognitive abilities. That means the learning abilities, the knowledge. Whether some people are maybe they can understand things easily. Some people need more and more explanations and more time to learn something. So their abilities are to be identified, right? The learning styles are also to be identified in the education sector. This understanding is crucial for developing effective teaching strategies tailored to enhance student engagement and success. Right? Now, this idea is very important. Why? As a teacher, every teacher tries to be successful. Every teacher tries to be an effective teacher. Okay? And you are going to use different strategies. You are going to make the children interested in your lesson, and for that you use different teaching strategies. And using different teaching strategies make the student engaged in the lesson. Right? If the strategy is not appropriate to the student's level, then they are not interested in it and they don't engage in the activity. That means they don't learn anything in the class, right? And at the same time, they try to disturb the classes. If you prepare everything well, that you are using effective strategies, appropriate teaching strategies, and then you will be able to do everything successfully, right? Do your lesson successfully, and both will be successful, both the teacher and the student. And understanding the student is very important in our career. But on the very first day, I wanted to understand your level and how you are and what you are doing like that. But the thing is that due to the time constraints, I just get at random. I just spoke to you at random, and some of you don't like to talk, some of you like to talk. Like that, we just get some idea about the students and their level, right? Especially, we have to focus our attention on their problems. We have to, as teachers, we should solve their problem. So, as a teacher, please consider all these ideas we discussed so far. I am telling again, we discussed the ancient philosophers' idea, their ideas on education, and modern ideas, and nowadays what we think. And I want you to explore on the modern era. I gave you 3 ancient philosophical ideas, that means Plato, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and John Dewey. Their philosophical ideas in detail. Actually, I want you all to focus your attention on the philosophers in the modern era and explore them and their ideas, and you can add their ideas also, and you can take them into consideration, right? Right. Sorry, right. Okay. Then, do you think that teacher should have a personal philosophy, or I think you all have a personal philosophy, right? Right. Okay. And the importance of a personal philosophy for teachers, right? Every teacher should have a personal philosophy of education, and it guides you well, right? That means your beliefs, your values, and your practices in the classroom, everything is guided by your personal philosophy of education, right? Why do we need a personal philosophy of education? Now, once again, I am telling you, I have included a lot of content here because I want you all to read and understand these things. But I want you to explore regarding the modern day philosophers, right? I didn't give them to you because you have to explore. Okay. Why do we need a personal philosophy? Right? Define the purpose. Can you just read them for a while and then understand? There are two ideas here. Take some time, read and understand. Right. Can somebody explain it? Define the purpose. Can somebody explain that point in your own words? Or can you give me the gist of it? A summary of that point? Just send it to me to the chat box now quickly. Right. Right. What do you all think about that? No idea in the chat box. Why is that? Huh? Right. Your personal philosophy based on your beliefs. Right? What do you believe? Can you all hear me? Hello? Hello? You all have become passive listeners, not responding. Why? Hello? Madhusani? Philip, can you hear me? Hello? All right. Okay. Thank you. You all can hear, but you don't want to put forward your ideas, right? Okay. Yes. Now, please understand as a teacher, you have your own basic beliefs, right? And then you know the goals of education and your role as a teacher, and you have understood the duties of a teacher, right? And you are supposed to do different sorts of duties in the classroom, right? And then facilitate students learning, and you are responsible for their performance in the classroom. So all these things are known by the teacher, and you have to develop your belief in best practices as a teacher. Okay, right. Then make informed decisions. Yeah, making decisions. Now, you know, if we speak to two teachers regarding the same problem at school, maybe in the classroom, two teachers will give me two different ideas. That's according to their own philosophies, right? Maybe the pedagogical decisions means now the strategies you are using in the classroom might be different. You are teaching simple present tense today. Your friend is teaching simple present tense to the same grade, but you select two different strategies, two different methodologies. Why? You are two different individuals, and your philosophies, the way you think, everything is different. And then you can determine the way you have to teach, how to teach, and how to decide on assessing students, how to work with them, and how to give them, how to give them instructions. Maybe some teachers give written instructions, some teachers give verbal instructions. So, like that, the teachers are different, and your personal philosophy helps you to solve the problems in the classroom and your teaching as well. Right. This is important. Create a positive learning environment in the classroom. Right. What do you think of this? Please read and understand. Reflect on your practice. We spoke about it. Communicate their beliefs. There are three things here. So please read and see. This is actually all these are for your future reference, but I want you to read it now because some people might read it later, some people not. Right. Now, you can think that in your classroom, whether there's a positive learning environment or not. Right? Think of your classroom and think of the way the students look at you, the way the students react to you, and the teachers' interaction with the students, and classroom management strategies, and whether you give them the physical punishment, whether you scold at them, like that, everything is based on what you believe. That means your personal philosophy, right? It guides you to create a safe place for students. Okay? They also try to be with you, interact with you, and they will understand each teacher differently. Now, you can think of your own examples as students, right? Whenever there are teachers, you differentiate and you know they are different from each other, and you also learn how to react to them, right? If the teacher is very lenient and you just get late to go to the class, if not, okay, there are classroom policies, we have to be there on time, like that you might have thought. And in the same way, students also can judge you, right? Because there's the interaction with the students. And therefore, please try to think of a learning situation which is favorable for students. That means a positive learning environment. Even though we just see, I have to tell you the truth, maybe in national colleges of education, in other training centers, maybe in service teacher training seminars and workshops, we always just ask the teachers to, okay, please think positively, don't punish and don't scold at the students like that. But once we go to the classroom, we just see something different to what we ask the teachers to practice. And the other thing is the We need the student-centered classroom. We need activities. We need group work and all those things. But those things are only for the teaching sessions which are observed by the lecturer, right? Which are observed for maybe giving marks for your assessment, right? And some of the children also, they notice that when the lecturer comes, only the teacher makes them active. Why? The teacher's philosophy is there. Teacher thinks that, okay, I don't have to do the same every day, and it is really difficult for me. Like that, you have your personal idea. Right. Okay, let's move on to the reflection. Earlier also we spoke about it. Reflect on your practice. Reflect on their practice mean the teacher's practice. Yes, we know that. And you sent me the idea. Reflect means you think back what you did and how you did and where you went wrong, and then the future suggestions for the future effectiveness. Okay, right. Then, how is your experience as a maybe a trainee teacher or teacher trainee? Hmm? Writing a reflection on a lesson, right? Even though we don't write the reflection on the lesson plan or somewhere, we have to think about it. We have to think. We have to reflect on what we did, right? Now, again, I have to tell you, but there are some teachers, they can write the reflection even before they go to the class. There were some student teachers, right? Trainees, they try to write the reflection just before the lesson, even before going to the class. They can just guess this might happen and then write. Or they just think that it is easy for me to write it now, otherwise, I can't write it later. Now only I have the time to do it. That is again so a belief, right? Writing the reflection or reflecting on the lesson, reflecting on their practice is their belief, their personal philosophy. But if you have developed your personal philosophy, you will reflect on the lessons. You will reflect on teaching practice. Then, if you reflect continuously, you will be able to improve yourselves, develop your teaching skills. You will be popular among the students. The students will be happy to learn from you, right? You can just think of the strategies of assessing students in each step of the lesson. At the same time, you try to evaluate students at the end of the lesson. But I know some of the teachers think that this is very, very difficult within the limited time, overcrowded classrooms. We can't do this. But only thing is, yeah, that's true. We have a limited time and the crowd is maybe 45 to 50 students. Even then, but there's another problem with the syllabus and examinations. Hmm? The term test and the year-end examinations, that's true, right? Even then, why don't we think of different strategies? Why don't we think of at least doing a simple evaluation at the end of the lesson every day, right? That's according to your own belief and experiences, right? So think of the reflective process that allows you to be successful, allows you to change the strategies you use every day. Address challenges. That means you can face challenges with confidence. You will be able to solve all the problems in the classroom. sometimes you will never get problems in the classroom, right? You will go up the ladder as an educator, right? As a teacher, now trained teacher, graduate teacher, teacher with a master's degree, or then a teacher educator, like that, you will be able to develop your professional skills or teaching skills, and then just go for a higher position. That means the teaching is the position, right? But the thing is, you will be an effective teacher, right? Accepted by the society, accepted and being popular in the school, and then the students love you. So everything is very important for you, and you will be really happy once you just leave the job, or once you just think of your job, right? Only thing is, you have to practice all these ideas we discuss here. If you make as a habit, then there won't be a problem, and they won't be difficult for you to do. Okay? Right. Then the communication. Communicate their beliefs. Right? What do you think about this? Communication matters a lot in the classroom, especially for a teacher. We have to think of our own communication with the students, parents, and the other teachers, and then the management of the school, right? And you all know, I think, with the communication skills, you might be able to solve a problem very easily, or you can maximize the gravity of the problem depending on the way you communicate it to the others, right? Okay, so then maybe you can give instructions to your students very well in the classroom, or you can just give them a hint. Hmm? But at times people get angry, teachers get angry, and they don't give enough instructions. If the children ask questions, the teacher doesn't communicate well, right? Now you know verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Both are equally important in the classroom, right? Maintaining eye contact is non-verbal communication. But you know, some teachers do not practice this. You have to maintain eye contact with each and every each and every student in your class, right? Then only they think that they are important. You can't look at each and everyone at the same time, but from time to time, you have to think of all the children in the class, maintain eye contact with everyone in the class, and let them feel, that they are important to the teacher. That is an encouragement for the child to learn, right? So then the transparency or the open communication, that's very important when you are working with the management and the colleagues, right? And your collaboration, your sharing of thoughts with your friends and colleagues, that will be important. And maybe you can share your thoughts with students. That will be important for their learning. Right. So these ideas are very important. And now I think you can just think that, okay, I'm doing this every day. I'm practicing these things. That means I have a personal philosophy, and I am a positive thinking person, or the positive thinking teacher. And I am an effective teacher. Like that, you can assess yourself. And at the same time, if you don't practice all these things, you have to think that you should practice all these things to become an effective teacher. What's the message here? I am checking. Right. Then the last section of this slide, please go through it. A personal philosophy of education is not merely a theoretical exercise, right? A personal philosophy of education is not merely a theoretical exercise. It is a practical role that empowers the teacher to create meaningful and transformative learning experiences for their students. By developing and articulating their own philosophy, teachers can become more intentional, effective, and fulfilled in their professional practice. Okay. Right. Please try to remember all these ideas, right? Why? Philosophy is necessary for a teacher, and we all know that you have your own philosophy. Not becoming a teacher, maybe a citizen, maybe a mother, maybe a father, uh, a sister, like that. You know how to interact with people, but you understand if there's a problem arises, the teachers act differently, right? The teachers act differently. Then the management act differently. Why is that? The way we look at the problem, the way we think of the children, right? The way we think of the other people. Some people, they don't like to listen and accept others' ideas. Some people accept others' ideas. Like that, we know there are different individuals. And at the same time, you have to have a policy. Now, every day you have to think of the classroom policies. According to your philosophy, you can have some classroom policies, then that's easy for you to train your children to behave well in the classroom, right? You have to actually make them interested in those things, the activities, and then you have to think of their internet entertainment a little bit. Like that, you can be a democratic teacher, and then you can develop your own philosophy to be effective, to be positive, to be democratic in the class, and friendly with everyone, friendly with the colleagues, and then follow the instructions of the management. Like that, you have to think all the aspects of your personal behavior and your career, and then develop the philosophy based on the philosophies of the expertise in the field or great philosophers in the field. Okay, right. Now, for your practical purposes, I just give you 2-3 examples of the situations where we need philosophical ideas, right? Maybe for our education system, maybe for your classrooms, maybe for the betterment of the school system, right? Like that, you have to think of how we can address the situations, address the challenges in the education sector. maybe your working context, right? Now, the problem is mismatch between education and the needs of the 21st century workforce. I know that we individuals can't do it, but we can contribute at times whenever they require our own ideas or suggestions. But the thing is, this is a broad idea, and this needs the attention of the authorities, right? Authorities. Then not the, but your idea is also important and valid, right? The philosophical idea here is foster a philosophy of lifelong learning and adaptability, right? So then we can just think of now the needs of 21st century workforce, and there's the complaint that we don't let the students practice what they need in the society after leaving the school. But we can't do miracles in the classroom. But depending on the subject we are teaching, we can focus on the life skills that they need. We can focus on the soft skills that they need for their life. Because if you just think of a person, they have to develop the skills, soft skills to be developed, because we have to train the person to be to be in the society, to be in the working place, right? But some people can't do it. Some people don't know how to behave in the society even after learning maybe English for 13 years, maybe for 10 years. They are not capable enough to fill in an application for a job like that, in depending on in our context, right? Depending on our context, we can contribute towards this. But here, first of all, I should say this one: equip students with transferable skills such as creativity, communication, collaboration, and digital literacy. Right. These things are taught in the school. We need the broad, uh, the vast change from the part of the authority. At the same time, we can do different sorts of things at classroom level, right? We can develop their communicative skills. We can develop their creativity. Then promote a growth mindset and a love of learning that will enable students to adapt to changing economic and social conditions. Okay, you can understand that, right? Then incorporate ideas from Alvin Toffler's future-oriented philosophy, which stresses the importance of preparing students for a rapidly changing world. Yes, right. Now, people are exposed to the world, right? We are living in the global society. We say we use different equipment and different social media, and then we ask students to make use of them for their performance, their benefits. But the thing is, the society goes to the bad side of it at times. Then we have to always think of how my students are working with these equipment, right? So please think of those ideas, and you have to explore and get more and more ideas about solving such problems, because we teachers are responsible for creating people who are capable in facing the 21st century. We have passed 25 years now, 21st century challenges. Okay. Right. Then maybe one of the teachers' problems: insufficient teacher training and professional development. You sometimes see that the training is not enough for you. You didn't get proper training, and maybe you got the training for some aspects, and for some aspects you didn't get the training. So like that, then the philosophical idea here is promoting a philosophy of teacher empowerment and continuous growth. Then authorities should think of it. They have to think of, now you are a trained teacher, right? You are appointed as a trained teacher and you are now trying to get the benefit of non-formal education, and you will be a graduate teacher. That is from your part, but the authorities should give teachers more opportunities to be with the rest of the world, to do the new things, to think of innovations in their working context. Maybe the teacher should be encouraged to do research, and you have to think of new projects doing at school. Like that, your professional development is very, very important for you, because that benefit goes to your students, right? Now, you can enhance your knowledge on teaching skills, right? And the subject knowledge, and your management skills or the leadership skills also to be developed. Then the opportunities should be there. At the same time, you can think of self-improvement, self-development, okay? And then the culture. Now think of, or we have to emphasize on the culture of collaboration, helping each other. And reflection. It is very rare. Reflection is very rarely practiced among our teachers, I mean teaching communities. So then you have to now think of those things where you can focus your attention on your own development, and you have to think of sharing best practices with the other students, right? And then you can think of transformative learning, okay, self-reflection and personal growth. All these ideas are important for you all. I told you, and I'm always repeating, for the purpose of examination, at the same time for the purpose of improving your practices as a teacher. Right. Inequitable access to quality education, particularly in rural and undeserved areas. Yeah, that is very common in countries like Sri Lanka. Then we can just say the philosophical idea is embrace a philosophy of social justice and equity that should be there in the society. At the same time, you know, the government or the authorities are responsible, and as a principal of a school, as a teacher of the classroom, you also can contribute to this, because you can ensure that your students get the necessary resources as much as possible. Maybe some resources are at school, the teachers don't use them. Then the child doesn't get the correct learning opportunity. There are such problems. I am not accusing, I am not just telling lies, but I just making you think. I'm just trying to make you think on those aspects of our own practice, right? And we can't find fault with each and every person in the society, but we individuals can change, and then the whole system will be changed. And then it is actually maybe a minor change. Sometimes it matters a lot, right? And then there should be interventions by the policymakers. And then we understand that the policymakers or the authorities, they don't pay enough attention. But the thing is, as practitioners, as teachers, as principals, we have to try to get their attention. From time to time, we can just address this question appropriately, right? Then you can once again, you have to think of new ideas, new philosophical ideas by different philosophers, different experts in the field, and different educationists in the field. And that's from your part. Maybe sometimes people always appreciate the Finland's education. So we can't actually change Sri Lanka at once. But the thing is, if you just study few things from some other countries, few things from your friend's classroom, and if you can just integrate whatever you practice with the others' practices, and then I think you can minimize some of these problems. But at the same time, we know that inequitable access means there should be social justice and equity that should be addressed by the authorities, right? Okay. Now, we studied the philosophy of education or educational philosophy from the ancient era. But if we study the philosophers who were in the ancient era, their ideas are important even in the 21st century. So you have to understand that. Then there's the historical revolution of analytic philosophy and logical philosophy, and then it is important for the part of education and especially teaching and learning, right? So then you have to think of, critical thinking, and then you can think of your own practices. You can think of your understanding or your knowledge, and each and every aspect of an individual should be developed. You will be better practitioner tomorrow than yesterday. Like that, we have to think positively, think critically, and think philosophically. Right. I think that's all I have to tell you regarding philosophy of education. Right. Is there anything that you want me to clarify, but don't think of the time factor? You may just wait few minutes and discuss if you want. Right. Yes. Is there any problem that I want to discuss again, or you want to clarify anything? No messages in the chat box today? No. Right. I'm sorry because at the very beginning, the technology gave me a little trouble, right? And the microphone didn't work well. But then I wanted to find the solution. Then I started using the second equipment along with this, and then you can understand how we have to face different challenges even though the technology is developed, right? So then to facing challenges and all these things according to the way we think, your beliefs, what you believe, right? Therefore, you have to always think of doing things correctly, right? You always have to think of your own development at the same time, your duties, responsibilities. Okay. And if you develop your own philosophy as a teacher, then the students will be benefited a lot. So if you think that the students in your classroom, those people are very happy, then you can also be happy, right? Like that. This is very important for our personal life at the same time for our career. And you have a philosophy that you have to improve your knowledge regarding teaching career. Then only because of that only you have joined these classes for the Bachelor of Education degree, and then you study different subjects. You need all these subjects to be an effective teacher, or try to make use of these subjects and try to make use of the ideas. Every day we discuss new ideas in our lessons. Then you can apply these things in your teaching, learning process in the classroom. Right. Okay. Is there any problem, any question that I should address? Seems no. Got everything? Yeah, today I gave you a lot. I mean, on the slides, there was a lot of information because I want you to read it and then understand and then try to develop your own philosophy. At the same time, I want you all to explore the new philosophers, right? Explore the information regarding new philosophy, present
Madam,
day philosophy. Yes,
madam,
Kaini?
madam, we didn't receive the today's note.
Thank you very much for reminding me. Okay. Then that is not an easy task for me. That means, I might forget to click on the arrow. That's why you didn't get it the other day. And then I am trying to do it now itself. Okay. Right. Okay. Yes. Anything else that you want me to do? You all know that there are 2 assignments for this subject, and then please read all the notes given and read some more material, some more stuff relevant to this. Okay. All right. All right. Now, yes. Got it?
Not yet, madam.
All right. Just wait 2-3 seconds. All right. I think now you can get it. Got it, Kaini?
Yes, madam.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me, because that's not my normal practice. We normally do not give the PowerPoint presentation or the whatever the thing, but I know you have your technology, and if you want, you can get it. But the thing is, I was not used to that, but now I know. Just after the lesson, I can share that with you. That's why I purposely included lot of information on each slide. Then you can leisurely read it and get more ideas and expand your knowledge. Okay. Then thank you everyone for your participation. But today I think I can see only 14 now. But earlier there were 20 people and they might have left early. right? But don't know why they are very busy with the domestic life at this time of the day. Or they think that there are more important tasks for them. That's according to the way they think and their beliefs, right? So that's up to them because you all are adults and you are teachers and you know how to study in an advanced course like this. Okay, then thank you everyone
Madam,
for your
excuse me,
active
madam.
participation today.
Excuse me, madam. Madam, did you put
Yes.
yesterday PP also?
Mahishi, yes, Mahishi, at the beginning I put it. Just check whether it's there. No?
I got late to join, madam.
Oh, that's
I
the
didn't.
reason. Okay. Let's see. I'll do it again then. Yesterday's one. That's number 2, right? Yes. Okay. Mahishi?
Yes, madam.
Ah, right, right. Now you can get it. All right now?
Still I didn't get it.
Mhm. Others,
Ah, now I got
please.
it. Yes, madam, I got it.
Ah, right. Okay. Thank
Madam,
you for asking. Otherwise, I thought that everybody got it. But anyway, you may be able to share it with your friends if they need. Right. Okay, then see, now tomorrow and day after we don't have classes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Get your holidays. Is it Philip?
Yes, ma'am.
Philip?
Your next lecture is
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Monday, ma'am. Olive.
Next Monday. Okay. Thank you for your ideas and thank you for telling about my technical problem and then contributing your ideas to the lesson. Okay, then enjoy your weekend. Good night.
Good
good
night,
night,
madam.
madam.
Right, ma'am.